Hello, friends, and welcome back to Radiant Resilience. Good morning. It's pretty early in the morning at the time of this recording. I just wanted to come on here and maybe do a little life update and also just general updates as well. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much from the absolute bottom of my heart and soul for the amount of love and support and all of the amazing listeners that have come through on this podcast and the guests. Like, I also could not be more grateful for every single guest that has come on this podcast. I just I've been at a couple events lately that people have come up and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm really enjoying your podcast." And I'm so touched by it because I see the numbers. The program that I upload and everything tracks it all and whatever and tells me how many people are listening and how many downloads we've had. And so I see that side of it. But for people to reach out and actually say that they're listening and paying attention and tuning in every week for every episode is incredible. And I am just absolutely humbled and blessed by all your guys' love and support. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much to everyone listening. Thank you so much to all the brave guests that have come on and shared their stories and been vulnerable and honest and real. It touches my heart so much. And I'm like tearing up talking about it. But I'm amazed. People are wonderful in a world where things are pretty scary sometimes. It's so nice to know that we have this love and support and these people out there that are willing to share their stories and willing to help others. And yeah, I've just been blown away by everybody. So thank you so much, truly from the bottom of my heart. And I hope you keep listening and I hope you keep enjoying all the episodes. I have some amazing ones coming out in the near future. And again, thank you for everybody who's been brave enough to share their stories. So that kind of brings me to I am always looking for more guests, always. So if you are interested in being a guest, I would love to highlight you and share your story. I'm sure that your story will help others, help somebody who's feeling alone, help maybe bring light or maybe shed some light on a topic or an issue that some people don't understand and maybe help them gain more understanding around that. But I would absolutely love it. So if you're interested, you can reach out to my email personally, which is radiantresiliencepodcast@gmail.com. And just let me know that you're interested in being on the podcast, and I'll send you the information. If you're ready to just jump right on in and be a guest, if you look in the show notes of every episode, but also this episode, at the very bottom, there is a link that you can click that will take you to a form to fill out, which will then take you to a scheduling system to schedule your interview. So if you're feeling brave and feeling like you want to share your story, again, I truly would be honored to share your story with the world, our listeners, at least. I don't think the world is listening yet, but let's put that out there. And then also, if you want to share your story, but you're not feeling up to being a guest on the podcast and being that open and honest and putting that digital footprint out there, I fully respect that and understand that. So I have an option if you would like to be an anonymous guest where I come on and share your story for you without names or anything like that. Please email me your story at radiantresiliencepodcast@gmail.com. Again, the email is in the show notes. You can click on it to send an email if you would like to do that. I am happy to share stories if you're not brave enough to come on and just yet to come on and share it vocally and with your face to it. I just want to share that option as well because I don't think that everybody thinks about that. And you may want to share your story, but you may not want to be tied to it on your digital footprint or whatever the reason may be. So, yeah, there's the anonymous option as well. Yeah, so I think that's like the taking care of business part. Thanks so much for hanging in there with me for that. So now I was just going to give a little bit of a life update for myself. Ooh, it's been a tough year, a really tough year. I think this has been like the toughest year for my family that we have ever experienced. It started out at the beginning of the year. In January, my grandpa went into the hospital. In February, he passed away. My grandma has really bad dementia and is now in a nursing home. We've had several other family issues as well. We're also busy planning a wedding for my little sister, Tara. If you haven't listened to her episode yet, please go back and do that. So it's been a crazy, and it's weighing on me heavily. Now that we're about, I guess we're a little over halfway through the year at the time of this recording. It is July. And yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot, and I don't really even know where to begin. But a couple of things I wanted to share with you that have happened recently. I've been having some really interesting conversations with Colin, my husband, just about myself, mostly myself and my emotions. One of them, I had an epiphany recently. And this is really funny. It's so mild, but we were talking about, so I am really bad at making decisions. Really bad. And part of that is just that I'm a very passive person. I'm non-confrontational. I really like to go with the flow. I don't like to rock the boat. So a lot of that is just my personality that I'm just rolling with things. Like I'm rolling with life. I don't really care too often, but there are times that I do, and I'm really bad at voicing it. And while Colin and I were having a deep conversation about this recently, I was, why am I so bad at making decisions? I don't know what that stems from. I don't know where it comes from. There's a fear there of choosing the wrong thing. And I'm talking decisions, like not even just big decisions in life. I'm actually maybe better at bigger decisions, but little decisions, like where we're going to go for dinner, what we're going to do for our day off, what brewery we want to go grab a beer at. I am so afraid of making the wrong decision, which is so ridiculous because I know intellectually that is there really a wrong decision when it comes to where we go to dinner? If we have a bad dinner, then so what? We get to have another dinner out another time. So, I don't know, but every once in a while, Colin will tell me like, okay, it's time for a tawny day. You need to have a tawny day. Whatever you want to do, we're going to do whatever you want to do. And it stresses me out like nobody's business. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't make that decision. I don't know what to do. If it's just, I don't know. I just can't do it. It's so hard. And like I said, I know part of it is being passive. Part of it is fear of the wrong decision. And I can't quite figure out where that came from, when it started, why it started. If it's just a part of my personality, maybe it didn't come from anywhere. I think we're always trying to find an answer. I know I am always trying to find an answer for why we are the way that we are, why we do the things we do. Yeah. So it's just interesting. I'm always looking for a reason. I'm always looking for something because in my mind, if I don't know why I'm doing it, it's harder to fix it. So just like I gave Colin the analogy of a car. If something is broken or wrong with a car, you can't fix it until you know what's wrong with it. I feel the same way about myself. So we were talking about it, and he said to me, "You're really great at making decisions for yourself when it's only affecting yourself." Because I think I had referenced something about, oh, I can make decisions all day long. That doesn't seem like a hard thing to do. But making decisions when someone else is involved is incredibly difficult. And I don't know why. I am a people pleaser. My dear friend Lisa Huff, who, again, if you haven't heard her episode, please go back and listen to that episode. She tells me to say recovering people pleaser. So I am a recovering people pleaser, working on recovering from that all the time. So I think it stems a little bit from that, but I was mind blown that I had never realized that before. I have never realized that I am great at making decisions for myself. And I struggle with it the most when someone else or other people are involved. Even just me and Colin, who have been together for almost 20 years. I apparently am still struggling with making decisions on a date night or something like that. I don't know. I just wanted to share that. It was just so eye-opening to me. If I'm home alone, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch what I want to watch on Netflix. I'm going to take a bath. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to do all the things I want to do. And I have no guilt over it. And I don't feel bad. And I'm not worried about making the wrong decision. And it's just so interesting. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because it was so fascinating to me to discover that about myself. So I'm working through that. I need to be better at voicing what I truly want to do, figuring out what I truly want to do, because it's not just that I have something that I want to do and I'm not saying it. A lot of the times I genuinely just don't know. I just am like, it's like a computer glitch. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. You pick. I don't care. Either one's fine. I also do better with choices. So when he says we're having a tawny day, we're going to do whatever you want to do, I'm like, nope, too many options, too many choices. I can't decide. But if you give me options, then I definitely do better with that. I still struggle with it, but I do better. But I think we're all always learning stuff about ourselves. So, yeah. So I just wanted to share that one with you. And I don't know if there's anybody else out there that struggles with that. I do have a very dear friend that I reached out to when I had this conversation with Colin, and she does listen to this, so I'm pretty sure she'll hear this part, but she is very much similar to me in that regard, and so we both really struggle with that. So if I learn anything that helps anybody out there that's struggling with that, I'll let you know. I think some of it is probably being a little bit insecure, not trusting myself, not feeling worthy enough of some of those decisions. The bigger ones are worthy of making those decisions. Not that necessarily worthy of the decisions, but worthy of making those decisions, which is also an interesting point. But anyways, that was one conversation that we recently had. And then another one, this is going to get real vulnerable and real personal. As you all know, if you've been listening to the podcast and you know me, my fertility struggles have been a huge struggle. And we are in a place right now where we are not doing any treatment, not pursuing anything, not preventing and hoping for the best, but just healing. We're in a really deep space of healing right now from what we've been through and trying to process it. And then also for me, I'm trying to process the future that I thought I would have, that I may not have. That's still up in the air. Facing a potentially childless life and what that looks like. So recently, what I've been struggling with the most is feeling very insecure and unworthy, which are things that come with the fertility journey or struggling with infertility. Anyways, I was a much more confident human being when I was not caring about this stuff and hadn't gone through any of this stuff. And what I'm figuring out, what I've been feeling lately is an insecurity towards my relationship. I love Colin to death and we have a wonderful relationship and I am so grateful for him and I am so grateful for our marriage and that it has managed to stay intact through all of this. because I know that's another thing that a lot of people going through this struggle with. But when living a life child-free and not by choice, when that was not something I chose to do, not the way I envisioned my life at all. I always thought eventually I would have kids. I was never the person that was hell-bent on, yes, I'm gonna be a mother. My whole purpose in life is being a mother. But I knew I would have a family someday. That was just always the not having a family, not having kids was never an option in my brain. Never a possibility. Now that I'm facing the very real potential of that, there's so many new feelings that are coming along with that. So many. And one of them is being worried that I will not be enough for Colin as we go through life, just the two of us. Because I always had in my head that we would have a family and that we would have an even deeper love and respect for each other because we were raising children in this world and doing it together and doing it as a team. And while I also understand that maybe that's a bit of a fantasy, and I know that raising children is very difficult and oftentimes takes a huge toll on marriages as well, I just always thought we would have that and that it would bring us closer together and give us deeper purposes in life. And when that has been taken away without my say, it's so hard to process. And then thinking about my life with just me and my husband, which it has been for 20 years, and it has been wonderful. We have had, it's had its challenges too. I don't want to make it sound like I have a perfect marriage because no marriage is perfect and we have our struggles and we have to work at it as well. But we've lived a wonderful life with all of our traveling and all of our adventures, and he is a wonderful man, and I truly am so grateful for him. But the very real and honest, raw truth that I am living right now is, am I good enough? Am I gonna be good enough? And I guess in the future, all relationships can fall apart at any point in time for any reason. But I never had to think about it before. I never thought about it. And thinking of how different our lives will be without children and what that looks like. I don't know. It's a scary thing. It truly is a scary thing. And who knows? We may grow apart. We may grow closer together. Things may be wonderful for the next 40 years, I hope, but you just never know what life's going to throw at you. And I know that all of this is my own feelings. He is not by any means making me feel this way. He has not said anything that has remotely made me feel this way. It is just all in my own head. And I am, is that the right word? I think that's the right word. It in my head and making it worse. And I recently reached out to a really close friend that's been in incredible support for me through this about it. And she brought a new perspective for me to it that really turned it around and really helped me get out of the slump that I was in. And I was stuck in these feelings and stuck in this rut of feeling not good enough and feeling not worthy of it and scared, honestly scared and terrified of the future and what that holds, which is a lot of this entire process because I am grieving the loss of a future I thought I was going to have, of a life I thought I was going to have. And that doesn't mean that my life is going to be bad. I realize that. I know there's going to be some wonderful things coming up in the future, and I'm very excited to see what that is. But I'm also deeply grieving and deeply hurt and deeply angry. And like I said, I'm working through all of that stuff, but it is a process, and I have my good days and I have my bad days. Because so many people have come on here and gotten so vulnerable and honest, I just felt like I wanted to give a very vulnerable and honest glimpse into what I'm currently experiencing and going through. So that's the more recent big things that have come up that we've talked about and worked through. And again, we're always working on things. We're always working on ourselves and life and each other. And we have a lot of really deep conversations about some really good things. And this infertility stuff it has really flipped my world upside down. Truly. Like, I look at what my life was 9 years ago to today. I am a very different person, and my life is very different, and I have a very different perspective on life, and my marriage is very different, and my relationships are very different. My friendships, my family relationships, everything has changed, but not all for the bad. A lot for the good, truly. And I'm working on finding all those silver linings. I'm also working on trying to love myself and find myself worthy of a life that I want. And my self-worth has been absolutely desecrated through this process. So that has been a work in progress as well. Heavy work in progress. I just finished the book called Worthy by Kern Lima. I don't know if any of you are familiar with her, but she started It Cosmetics. She is an amazing human that I am so inspired by. If you have not read this book, please go read this book. It is incredible. And I think I actually want to reread it several times. She has such a beautiful story. I saw her speak at a hairstylist event in 2022 and just was absolutely stunned by her speech. She was such an amazing public speaker, and I loved listening to her story. And she was just so inspiring. I was ready to go out and take on the world after her speech. It was incredible. So I would highly recommend reading her book. Again, it's called Worthy by Kern Lima. Maybe I will link that here in the show notes if you want to go buy that and read that. I recently, after I finished that book, I am currently reading The Body Keeps the Score. And I'm going to look up the author here. It's called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel Kolk, MD. And a lot of people have brought this book up to me to read about trauma and how your body stores it and the brain and how that works. And many of you, if you've listened to the podcast, have heard me reference the Oprah Winfrey book that is What Happened to You. She wrote that with Bruce D. Perry, who is a neuroscientist, and he is fascinating. It was all about the brain and trauma and how our brain reacts and how it processes trauma and how that affects you. And I think The Body Keeps the Score is similar, but maybe just more about the body. Right now, I'm just in the very first 20 pages, so very early on, but I will keep you all updated on how that book goes if you want an update on that. But he's talking about Vietnam vets and how war is traumatizing and how it affects our veterans and the PTSD involved with that. That's how it's starting out, is talking about the brain and PTSD and all of those things. I just wanted to share those books with you in case you're looking for something to read that are self-help. I also, for those of you that are out there that are ACOTAR fans, I finally jumped on the ACOTAR bandwagon. I am a huge sci-fi fantasy reader. I love TV shows, movies, all the things. And for some reason, I just put off reading this one. So I'm in the second book of ACOTAR as my pleasure read as well. So I just wanted to share these updates with you. I hope you enjoyed this little bonus episode. I hope you're enjoying all of the other episodes. Again, I have some incredible guests coming on in the near future that have unique, amazing stories. And again, so grateful to every single one of them for sharing their stories on here. And again, if you would like to be a guest, I would love to have you. Please reach out if you want to do that. And yeah, I will pop in here with some life updates from time to time. We'll see how this one goes, see if you all enjoy it. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out either on Instagram, via email. I would love any feedback that you have for these episodes. Or if something just really resonated with you and you really loved an episode, I would love to hear from you just on that note too. So, all right, friends, I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed sharing this with you and being vulnerable with you. Please go out and be brave today. And I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day.